people who are connected to the radios, the police, all of the emergency services. They will send out directives to the counselors when they get the warnings. If that was not done, and the counselors are seeing something happen, they will do their best to save people. But the responsibility falls on the administration of that camp. Also, as you move up the chain, was the camp getting the necessary responses from the local government, the local county, and the state? Were they getting all the information they needed to protect people? When parents send their kids to camp, they assume all of these systems are in place. They don't ask them, what kind of emergency service setup do you have? What kind of siren system do you have? They just assume all these things are done, because they also sometimes assume that the local government and the Texas government have systems in place to mandate that these camps have these systems in place. So I want to make the connection to all of those things. And it is absolutely fucking tragic that this fucking could have happened, and it didn't need all of this necessary death. I'm specifically referring to the camp itself, not the campground.
I just put in the chat a little earlier that about the first of all, there were 2 former FEMA top level employees that were cut. They went to different kinds of evacuation service prep organizations, but they offered their services, and then they also gave some insights to what was wrong. One of them was that they often recommend in those camp situations crank radios. They say that's like one of those fundamental things. And then there was another link that I put in there about the details of the Camp Mystic, about the details of the evacuation plans that Camp Mystic had in their accreditation process. In addition to that, in that article, there's accounts that the mayor says and the judge says, even though they were told that the NWS said that they notified the mayor and the judge, they said that they didn't even get the warnings until, I guess, the mayor got the warning at 5 a.m.
Emergency.
Oh, that's all lies. I'm sorry. That's all lies. And the cover up is just getting ready to start. And
No, that's not the emergency.
No, that's lies.
I believe it. Either way, it's a drop of the ball, right?
That's lies.
No,
I just read an article. Who just said that? Trent?
Yeah.
Trent, I'm not sitting up here with my finger up my butt right now.
No.
Please, can I speak after, honey?
Are you going to talk over me, though?
No, there's 2 different
Are you going to talk over me, though?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Go ahead, Trent. You got it. No, go ahead.
There's 2 different warnings. What they were talking about getting at 4 a.m. is the emergency warning. That is the force-fed warning that goes to the cell phones. There were other alerts issued. That is 100% accurate. But what they were speaking of, they only got the 4 a.m. emergency warning.
Okay, so regardless of what everybody else got on their phones and everything else, I'm telling you, I'm reading articles where they were told at sunset the day before that this was going to be a storm that the ground wasn't going to be able to absorb this much rain.
Yeah.
So when you have, I don't know how many times where this is like a circular conversation, when you have campgrounds and you are the owner or you the operator or whatever, you have to have emergency contingency plans in place. I do not care if you don't have the resources, the money, whatever. Don't run the campground then. I don't care the fact that, yes, I don't care if you don't have a designated line. That's your problem. Listen to this part. Your kid, if you would have went to this camp orientation, because I've worked camps before, right? I've worked a lot of fucking camps, and Scotty's worked camps. First of all, the camp leaders come in and we get, I don't know what kind of camp this was. I don't know if it was a discount camp. It was a Target camp. It was a Walmart camp. I don't know what it was. But every camp that I've ever volunteered or worked at, we have our orientation the first few days first. We're taught about all the warning systems. We're taught about the emergency systems, the evacuation routes, the medical emergencies, where everything is kept, the EUDs in case there's somebody's having a cardiac event, where the medical just on and on. Because you got children, right? I don't even know does anybody here know what the ratio was for camp leader to children? There's also laws, guidelines. I don't know if it's laws in Texas, because you guys is buck wild. You do whatever you guys fucking want in Texas. But there's also guidelines to how many camp leaders or team leaders are per child. There's ratios, right? Because you can't have 100 kids and 2 camp leaders. So if you go to the orientation of the camp, they usually have somebody come out to wherever you signing up, or you whatever, a website or something where it tells you all this. And if it's said on there, in case of emergency, we have no glass to break, and you're gonna send your kid anyway. Oh well, Junior. Good luck. I'm sending you to camp nowhere, no how, no way, because I need to get you out of my sight. So I'm just telling you, the camp is responsible. They're liable. If anybody disagrees, that's what I want to hear. And also, the county is liable for what just happened to these kids.
Can I speak?
And I'm not even talking about the adults and the other campers that were in the area. We're focusing on innocent children who need adults to help them get away. All right? The campers downstream, grown-ass people living off the grid that we're going to do, okay, whatever. But children need adult help and supervision in the case of an emergency.
I just looked up the ratio. I hope it's accurate, but it says 9 to 10 kids because they had 78 leaders or camp counselors, and there were 750 campers.
Wait, what?
I don't know if a camper is
Wait,
a kid.
can you just repeat what you just said?
It's supposed to be one adult supervisor. That can't be right.
Okay, there's not one. Okay,
That can't be
repeat what you said, 11.
I'm looking at it. Those numbers.
Yeah, what I'm looking at may be related more to people camping, because Camp Mystic is not the actual camp, right? Is that the actual camp for the kids?
Yes, Camp Mystic. It's a Christian privately owned camp.
Okay, so it says the last reported number of camp counselors leaders was 78 as of 2018, and it says 750 campers. So it's one leader for every.
That's about right. It's 8 to 10 kids
right?
per leader. So that's about right.
But it's not always.
Okay.
It's not always full. But I'm just gonna say one thing. Y'all don't crucify me when I say this shit, please. Don't crucify me. There is now going to be. They are calling for an investigation into a company called Rainmaker.
Don't say it.
Oh God!
Don't say it, Trent. Come on, man.
Bro, this is
Come
the
on,
state.
bro.
They just had
Come
it on YouTube. Just listen. They did on July 2nd. They sprayed in. Yes, the company is called Rainmaker. The CEO just spoke. They did do cloud seeding in Karnes County, which is 120 miles, about 180 miles southwest of Kerr and of San Antonio. But
This has no
But
connection.
the experts already called it wasn't the cloud seeding.
Just let me finish. The wind
So with the
flow.
experts come-
Wait, Trent, you realize we all have the internet. We can actually Google search and see that it's a conspiracy going around on social media, it says. This is social media speculation linked Rainmaker Technology Corporation, cloud seeding operation until July 4th, floods in Texas. However, the company CEO, Augustus Dorico, and other sources have refuted these claims. There is no investigation.
They're calling for an investigation.
No, people like you are.
Yeah,
People like you are.
The ones that believe the ones that believe the conspiracy.
Bro, like, I don't mind conspiracies if there's actually 3 or more people conspiring, but like these conspiracy theories are just bullshit.
Black Trump, let me finish. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but they now sent me the thing that
You
wind
are.
flows to the northwest.
You are definitely a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, then I'm a conspiracy
You
theorist.
are.
That's fine. The wind flow. Just listen. The wind flow was to the northwest, And where the wind flow, they mapped this out. Like,
why
they have
do you
mapped
do
this
this?
out.
Wait, why do you do this, Trent? It's a conspiracy, and you are adding more shit into this pile of garbage. What are you doing?
Because I would say you should at least look. You should at least look at.
No, because I'm not fucking gullible, bro. Because I can fucking.
Hold on for 1 second. Like, hey Trent, I've been listening for a while. I haven't said much, right? Initially, earlier when you came in, you basically were saying, yeah, that could be a possibility, but not really. You know, they were calculating, but it wasn't an issue. Somebody else initiated it. You substantiated it. And said it wasn't a realistic possibility.
I did.
Right now, I know. Well, I'm accurate. One thing we do know is there's not been one instance of cloud seeding yielding a storm. It can enhance weather that's already there. It can't create weather that isn't, right?
Exactly.
So now when we're starting to go down this rabbit hole that doesn't even fucking exist, let me finish, of cloud seeding that we've already has never been substantiated on any scientific level ever in the history of fucking niggerdom, then why are we even having this conversation?
Because listen, this is why they're calling for it. Because the flow they did spray on July 2nd at 4 p.m.
Yeah, but you didn't
We
know
know this.
that girl.
Nobody's denying that.
So that girl brought it up. So what you did was look for an article that made it make sense for you because you have a mental health issue.
Hold on. I didn't think that this was fucking possible either. But they've got graphs and they show the flow is to the north.
You were so gullible.
To the northwest. And the
you
flow.
were so gullible. Pause. Before you inject this shit into conversation.
Trent, can you explain to us about the reptilians too?
Welcome to all.
Yeah, let's stay off the reptilians.
Do you think the reptilians had anything to do with the cloud seeding, or maybe they enhanced it?
Just look. They just had them. They just had them on the Houston Chronicle. Now there are people calling it for investigation. When I look at the map, because what's hard to predict? It's precipitation, and what was so far off about the storm was the precipitation. And what cloud seeding does is doesn't create a storm. That is correct. It increases precipitation. And so I just think it's
not
worth
like
an
that.
investigation
Not
to
like that.
understand
It
if
does
it's
not
possible.
increase precipitation like that. It does not.
No, cloud seeding doesn't. It
It
doesn't
does
increase
not increase it to that degree that they saw that night. It does not.
Ma'am, it doesn't.
It does not.
By their
The clouds dissipated after they seeded them, and it was 100 and some miles away. So no,
I get it, but that's what he said. But they've already shown the
you
map.
don't get it. You just keep coming back to it. You're stuck in it like a hamster in a cage.
No, I'm just saying it is worth an investigation, and it should be looked at, and it will be looked at, 100%.
Right.
No, because it doesn't exist. It's not real.
This is how conspiracy theories get spread.
Yep.
Also, to Gemini's point, and we all heard it in the room, he was saying, no, it's not, cloud seeding is not responsible. Then somebody brought up something that triggered him and made him lose his fucking shit and go down a rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, and then he came back and changed his mind.
Exactly.
So this is how
it's called Johnny Walker.
That's exactly what I was saying, Scotty.
I'm just saying, we all witnessed it in real time, how a conspiracy actually can actually foment in the minds of people like Trump in real time, and we saw it happen here. God bless the Fort.
Wait, Scotty, didn't you bring up a conspiracy that Greg Abbott hates all the Texans and wants them all dead? That they don't care about their...
No, that's a hyperbolic statement that you...
Oh, okay, cool. No, that's what you said. You said that they don't give a shit about their people and that they should focus more on warning systems and that they don't care.
They should.
Yeah,
they don't. It's not. They don't prioritize. They don't prioritize people. So that was the statement. You want to turn it into Greg Abbott wants to kill people? Sure, go ahead. I don't agree with you.
No, but I mean, by saying that they don't give a shit about their own people and they don't care if they die.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they prioritize other things over caring about their people. So, I mean, that's obvious.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Oh, I agree with that one.
Says the ass on blackface.
And Donald Trump doesn't either.
I love black people. I think they're beautiful inside and out.
Okay.
Okay, so
Read out there.
Let me play this clip of this guy who works for, I don't know who the heck he works for, but he's talking about he's talking about the warning system, you guys, because, I don't know where this is going to go, but I know that this is going to be a big mess in Texas. And once again, a cover-up is starting already. Let me play this one here.
Prevented.
Well, I've been here 45 years and I've seen other floods. This was the biggest. And I don't know why we don't have an early warning system on this river. Not that it would have done enough. But we had a 30-foot wall of water, 300 yards wide, go down by my house at 85 miles an hour. So that's fast. And I just really think we need that.
Look, you're a code enforcement officer there for Ingram, Texas. I mean, I know we're in the midst of this tragic situation, but clearly something needs to change, right? There have to be changes. You talk about an early warning system. I know that that's already been talked about. What are your thoughts? What do you think needs to be done going forward, just from your experience and you being a local, seeing that this was a sadly historic tragedy?
So, if I may, let me say something, and that's it. We in Kirk County, Ingram, we are so humbled and blessed for all the people that have given their time and their energy to help us. We're humble and we're grateful. We do need a flood warning system. We need to maybe look at ordinances on campgrounds, maybe, on who can be there and how far down. But I don't think this was preventable.
Right. Well, just the fact that you're talking about ordinances on campgrounds and looking into the future and being able to save lives if, God forbid, this were to ever happen again in such a large scale. Stuart Gross, we appreciate your time and appreciate you.
Okay, I thought he was going to say a little bit more.
Why do they keep fucking camping near this river? Why would somebody do it if it's flooded before? I went to Christian camps growing up as a kid, and I always thought I was going to lose my life on one of them hinky-ass places, okay? Hinky places that are fucking crazy, all right? If something happens to you so fucking far out, this don't make no sense to me at all. Why do you keep doing it? And they'll probably continue to do it.
I know. What if you got some crazy ass person in the fucking campground who comes in there and starts a match? You guys are making me. I ain't sending my kids to no camp.
My kids
now that I'm
don't
seeing
go to no
all the holes and the cracks and shit, I'm not. Y'all can keep it.
I survived here. This is my kids.
Crystal Lake in New Hampshire where I grew up. So yeah.
One of the scariest things I keep hearing about is the lack of an evacuation plan. Right? We understand that there was a lack of communication initially as far as the severity of the warnings that were issued, right? But the lack of an evacuation plan, the shelter-in-place mindset, which, that's waiting for death if you really think about it in a scenario like this. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I keep saying
was there a lack of an evacuation plan?
That's what officials have said. Like officials
the
from
counties
there have
didn't
said
call for it. They delayed.
Okay, because I'm just wondering because like a lot of times with those camps, like they have procedures. Like
that's what I thought was weird. I'll find an article and put the link, Patty. But they said officials admitted to the lack of an evacuation plan other than shelter in place. Like, why would they admit that?
So are they talking about the officials for the local city or what? Or like, was there something?
I think they're
or were they talking about the actual camp itself?
I took it as the officials for the city, but I don't. It could be the camp. I don't know. I'll find a link and put it in the chat, though.
Because a lot of times these camps actually have like, they have. I've never been to a camp that didn't have.
Me either. I'm a camper. I've never heard of that ever. Like that. That's usually a first discussion, like when you arrive on site, right? But for whatever reason, that's what they said.
Right. I put a link in the chat that was talking about their evacuation policy. Right, but then there was something else that there was like 2 or 3 prior incidents where they had this flash flood.
But that's what I've been saying all day. That I don't
there doesn't seem to be any processes in place. I'll wait to see if they announce it at this camp in terms of what is the planned, organized way that they respond to any type of event, critical event. Who are the counselors that are going to be assigned? Like in the hospital, I'm like a code blue Nazi. I train and I teach that. We have code blue team. Who is going to respond when somebody goes in cardiac arrest? And that changes every day, and everybody knows what to do when there's a code blue and who to show up. Did they have a plan in place where counselors, several of them, are awake and stand guard over those kids to make sure that they're safe, that if the rain is being happening for several days, that they're monitoring a ham radio? We're not going to rely on electricity, especially in the wilderness, because we know with the weather it can go out. So they should have ham. I would expect that they have ham or crank radio. Who's monitoring that? And who is the chain of command who gives to say all clear or let's get these kids out of here? And I haven't heard that those things, like I said, it seems like this rescue issue was ad hoc, like it just was spontaneous. It didn't seem organized to me. That's me looking out. And that's my big issue. And that's why I'm focusing on the children, because there's nobody looking out for them.
It doesn't make sense. It actually says licensed youth camps in the state of Texas are required by law to have mandatory written emergency plans, including clear rules for counselors and other staff. State regulation, Texas Administrative Code, Title 25, Chapter 255. Every licensed youth camp must include its emergency plan procedures for disaster, serious incidents, epidemic, or fatality. Plans must be written, posted in every building, and include specific assignments for each staff and counselor. Campers and staff must be trained on these plans during staff orientation, and documentation of training is mandatory. So obviously they should have had a plan. Okay. So that's why I'm asking.
The answer to that, Patty, I found what I was looking for. It said Kern County Judge Rob Kelly repeatedly stated that neither county authorities nor camps had flood-specific warning systems or evacuation strategies in place, saying, quote, I don't know what kind of safety and evacuation plans those camps may have had.
So he said
it was a judge. It was a judge that was saying that.
And if you read it, he said he doesn't know what the plans that they had, is what I'm hearing from you. And then he said something about the emergency evacuation systems. So that's why I asked, is this specific to local, what the county has done versus what the camps
I think they're talking about the county.
So that's got to be the county, because there's an actual code for, there's a state regulation when it comes to Texas with these darn camps.
Yeah, but here's something else. Wait, one second. Here's something else, because the Guadalupe River is known for its propensity to flood, and it has earned the nickname Flash Flood Alley for its vulnerability to flash flooding. This nickname applies to the broader Texas Hill Country region, where the Guadalupe River is a prominent feature. The river and the surrounding area are prone to rapid and dangerous flooding due to a combination of factors, including the region's topography and the type of rainfall it receives. The river's course through the hill country's valleys and canyons can funnel and concentrate floodwaters, leading to sudden and intense rises in water levels.
Okay, so to take that a step further, Doc, give me 1 second. I'll be very brief. It says Kerrville City Manager Dalton Rice expressed uncertainty about issuing evacuation orders, emphasizing they, quote unquote, reluctantly avoided sounding alarms prematurely and lacked clear assessment of camp's readiness. So there was a lot of bullshit out there.
I wanted
So
to
an article
say
that I
something.
put in the chat that has from Houston Chronicle, right? That has the
Or you go directly after I left.
What's that?
I was just telling her to go because she was waiting to go.
Oh, yeah, okay. Good looking out. All right, so they basically in that article show the line of the flow, from the NWS down to the camp, right? And it says, just this one paragraph says, the leaders of Camp Mystic would activate their own emergency plan. You know, if I guess that's as the last ditch thing, required in order to be licensed by the state of Texas as a youth camp and buttressed by the rigorous accreditation process of the American Camp Association, of which Mystic is a member. The plans are posted throughout the premises and reviewed annually by staff. They describe how an evacuation would proceed. Then it goes on to say no one would die, right? So that's in the chat.
And then when y'all talking about flood zones, I'm looking up camps. It actually says that most camps, so even with the FEMA map, right? So most camps, they end up being in flood prone zones because of the natural settings, the lakes that are near it, and they're in rural areas. So like, regardless of the fact we can keep saying flood zone, whatever camp you go to, because it's in proximity to water and a low level, it's gonna be a flood zone. So don't send your kids.
Can I speak, please? Is that okay? So I wanted to say something that it's worth noting that when it came down to the other camps, because you have Camp Mystic, which was 8 to 17, you have Camp La Junta, which is general use, not specified, no known injuries, and then you had the Texas Lions Camp, serves disabled youth, and they had a safe evacuation with no incident. From all the reporting I've seen, Camp Mystic wasn't a special needs camp. It served girls 8 to 17, and none of the coverage mentions disabilities. Nearby camps like the ones that I mentioned, which served